What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another video on Spurs philosophy. It's been a minute since we made a video, but we have something very interesting today. ChatGPT predicting the next 75 NBA champions. You're going to want to see how much the Spurs are listed and when they are, so hit that like and subscribe button. Let's get back into it. But looking at ChatGPT predicts the next 75 NBA champions. So if we look at the Spurs, right off the bat, we are in 2028, so still a while away. But any true Spurs fan has probably heard conversations about how the timetable's more likely longer than it is short term with Wemby. Of course, Wemby's still out with the deep vein thrombosis, and De'Aaron Fox these past few days was just announced to be ready to have surgery, which is good news. So hopefully they're both 100% by the start of next year with a couple of good draft picks in next year's draft. So anyway, looking at the first year that we're going to win is in 2028. So prior to that, this year, Boston winning, which makes a lot of sense. Although I saw an interesting piece on ESPN this morning about how much they rely on the three-point ball, so that is interesting. We also have Denver winning again in 2026. I'm not sure how I really feel about that. I personally think that Denver's more on the decline, but you guys let me know what you think about that. 2027, the Thunder winning. I think that in 2027, the Spurs are also going to be competing. So between it looks like the Thunder and the Spurs, that's going to be interesting. It looks like the Thunder win 2027. Our Spurs get the first Wemby era championship in 2028. And then the Thunder winning again in 2029. So that's going to be probably pretty annoying if this actually by some chance plays out. The Bucks winning in 2030, maybe a last hoorah by Giannis and Lillard. Who knows what's going on with them. And then the Spurs again in 2031. So that is awesome. The Rockets coming in 2032 with a championship. Can't blame ChatGPT for giving them some odds. The Rockets have a good young team with Amen Thompson. As much as that pains me to say, both the Thunder and the Rockets are looking deep, really good. Mavericks, not so much. And then the Magic winning in 2033 and 2034. That is interesting. So we're going to kind of skim through and until we get to the next Spurs. So Seattle winning. So that's interesting that Seattle has a team again in 2035, which makes sense. The NBA is growing. Despite viewership going down, the NBA is still growing in popularity around the world. So Thunder again, Spurs in 2037. Warriors, very interesting. So Thunder, that's going to be just Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren. That could be a dynasty for all we know. Of course, this is just AI. Toronto, oh man, I don't even know what team that is. I'm going to have to zoom in on that here. I'll edit that or just drop down below what they have. But maybe an expansion team, maybe an Australian team by 2042. So we skip all the way, nothing interesting, that new expansion team again. And then it looks like maybe, I'll look into that, but I think there's some Asian country teams that are going to be added. Looks like San Diego gets a team. Spurs again back. Oh, Spurs three-peat in 2055. My goodness, 2056 and 2057. I mean, I don't even know if Cooper Flag will still be around by then. So I don't really know what ChatGPT has in store, but I like it because if we look after our realistic ones in 2037, we have. So let's just count them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 championships, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check in a little bit. 7 championships in 75 years. So what, 10% of the time, roughly, we would be winning. Not mad about it. Not mad if you say, hey, every year the Spurs have a 10% chance of winning the championship. Those are pretty good odds. And hopefully they're only better realistically. Cavs three-peating in 2085 or 85. Oh man, God willing, we'll still be around to see that. But if major highlights, the Spurs getting their first one in 2028, another 3 years later in 2031, we do go well in 3 sets of years, right? If we look at 03, 05, 07, that's 2 years. But nonetheless, we've never really done a back-to-back, I don't believe. So 2055, we'll be kicking it, God willing again, and we will have a three-peat. So stay tuned for that. The youngins should be really excited. But in terms of real today NBA news with the Spurs. I consider this to be a pretty quiet time, especially now that De'Aaron is shut down. It'll be a good chance to continue to figure out who is really going to have a role on the Spurs and who is not so much. So Zach Collins, Trey Jones have already been sent off. There's been a couple of injuries with Charles Bassey, with that, and of course Wemby struggling with his injury. But Wemby sounds like and seems like he's doing pretty well. So hopefully it was just a one-time thing. I know a lot of people are concerned, and blood clots again are no joke. They've taken the careers of some players, and lives. But we don't want to think about that. We want to think about all the exciting potential that the Spurs have. Cooper Flag, of course, going down with an ankle injury. There's a lot of discussion about whether Duke should shut him down, but the injury seems to be pretty minor. So we're still on the radar for who's going to be up and coming in the draft, but we'll have more about that. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Go Spurs, go!